We arrived in Georgetown during Lunar New Year. Color and celebration everywhere we looked. But the street art and the history beneath it, that's there all year. And it goes much deeper than we expected. Some people give it 4 days. We gave it 16 and still wanted more.
We tried 6 varieties of the smelliest food on the planet. And a cup of ice cream led us to one of the most memorable experiences of our entire stay. And it wasn't even on our itinerary.
At the end, we'll show you exactly what everything cost. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way. Georgetown is the historic capital of Penang Island in northwest Malaysia, a UNESCO World Heritage City where Chinese, Indian, Malay, and British colonial cultures have been layering on top of each other since 1786.
We've been wanting to come back to Southeast Asia since our trip in 2024, and Georgetown had been high on the list of places we wanted to visit. So we'd built it up, and our question when we got here was whether it would actually deliver.
We arrived tired. Normally, our first day is a recovery day. We really don't do much.
But the Jetty was practically in our backyard, and somehow we ended up there anyway.
The jetties are a series of wooden villages built on stilts over the water, each one belonging to a different Chinese clan, whose ancestors arrived from southern China to settle and work in the port city. People still live here.
It was exactly the kind of thing that makes you stop being tired. We hadn't even settled in properly, but Georgetown was already lighting a fire under us. One of the things I was really excited about was that we were able to book a heritage longhouse called Gen House on Armenian Street, which is right in the heart of the UNESCO zone. It was built over 100 years ago, and one of the things that we found really surprising is that it had what they called an outdoor kitchen, which did not look like the outdoor kitchen that we're used to seeing. This was just a microwave and a sink outside in the backyard, and I don't know, I just didn't expect it to look that way.
Yeah, all the shelves, pots, pans, just outdoors.
We didn't use it, but it was interesting.
And it was just a block from the most photographed piece of street art in Penang.
Can't even tell because there's nobody around.
Can't find it without the crowds.
That mural, Children on a Bicycle, gets photographed 1,000 times a day, or at least it seemed that way for the number of people that kept passing through. We tried a few different places for our morning coffee, but our favorite place was called Two Streets. My breakfast of choice was scrambled eggs on toast with cheese and pepper flakes. It sounds simple, but it was just perfect. It's the kind of breakfast that makes you really want to come back again and again.
We actually went back enough times that they knew what we wanted. And on one of our last mornings, they brought us a free donut. No explanation, just a thank you.
I think that was just a kind and sweet gesture, and that's going to stay in my heart for a while.
Sweet gestures like this really stick with us, and those are the things we remember about a place. We've mentioned this before, but one of the most unexpected gifts of staying somewhere longer is the people you meet. Several of our YouTube friends found us here. We had meals together, walked the heritage streets together. It was so unexpected in a couple of the cases.
If you travel and want to connect with other travelers, we host a private community forum called La Familia. People post their schedules, find travel companions, meet up in cities around the world. The link is in the description. We'd love to see you there.
Within a few blocks of our front door, Georgetown contains the oldest mosque in Penang, built by East India Company soldiers in the late 1700s. A Hindu temple that's been here since the 1800s. Chinese clan houses built by immigrant families to be more magnificent than anything back in China. A British colonial church from 1818 that predates most of the United States.
And they all coexist, not as museums, but as part of the neighborhood.
The street art here is different from most cities, and you stumble across it all the time.
And there was so much beyond this. I loved looking for all of it. And while there's deeper history here, sometimes it's also just funny. And right here, this wire figure, a food delivery cyclist carrying 6 bowls at once, comes with a placard explaining what street food delivery looked like a century ago. The city's using its walls as a living museum. You just have to slow down enough to read it.
And this wire art is all over the city. We kept finding more and more of it.
In fact, one of the interesting things that I noticed is that it actually is easier to read if you look at it from your camera lens than from straight on. For some reason, it just helps. Trust us.
We ate at Jawi House, a restaurant serving historic Jawi Peranakan cuisine that blends Middle Eastern and Indian spices with local Malay cooking. Basically, the food of families with mixed Arab, Indian, and Malay roots who have been part of the city for generations.
I had the Jawi laksa and one bowl, and I understood completely why this food survives.
We kept coming back to Kesum Art Restaurant. They claim the best satay in Georgetown.
That satay was so juicy and tender, unlike anything that I've ever had before.
Everything here was incredible. I love the Maggie Goring plate, and I've had it more than once.
Every time we met up with some new viewers, we brought them there. I think we were there 4 times.
And speaking of places we go back to a lot, the Jetty food court was an easy place to go get some midday food.
Really, really cheap.
Not only cheap, there was just a variety of food we could get, from Chinese to Korean to anything you basically wanted to in this one building.
So what do you think?
Very tasty. The noodles don't seem spicy, but there is little dark bits here that, yeah, once I grab those, now we're spiced. Really nice though. A lot of noodles, a lot of meat.
But bring cash, because they do like cash at that place.
One of the challenges here in Georgetown was that there was a period of time during the day when a lot of the restaurants were closed. And so we were out of luck for a period of time. So we came across this stall selling homemade egg rolls that were stuffed with various ingredients you could choose.
Yeah, what drew you to this stand?
Well, of course, this one had peanut butter.
Yeah.
They weren't what I expected them to be, but they were really good. They tasted like a Nutty Buddy bar with an Asian flair.
There are 2 mansions worth visiting in Georgetown, and they give you completely different experiences. The Penang Peranakan Mansion is extraordinary if you love artifacts. There's room after room of furniture, jewelry, porcelain, silverware, but it's really crowded.
Okay, if you want to feel the real tourist crowds, go to one of the mansions like this one. It was so crowded. There were so many tourists coming through.
So not only were they just walking through, learning about all of the different rooms, which in a mansion, you can imagine, there are quite a lot of rooms.
And ceramics and glasswork, so it looks very elegant.
Yes, but because people right inside this complex had the opportunity to get rental clothes and dress up, you also had a ton of people posing everywhere. So
and queuing up to pose. There would be
yeah,
3 or 4 of them.
It definitely was a challenge to have a full experience because it was so many people taking pictures, so crowded. We went, today's a Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So
it might be better in the mornings, maybe before the tours start. So
yes,
that could be a good time. Check it out earlier than middle of the day.
right. We agree. But it's absolutely beautiful, and there are so many opportunities to take photos. By the end, we were definitely ready to be somewhere quieter. The Blue Mansion was that somewhere. Now, it is completely different. It is not a mansion filled with all kinds of stuff.
And there aren't a lot of people in this one. You don't have to fight crowds. In fact, when you first walk into it, you think, are we in the right place? Because nobody was there compared to the last place, and it didn't look like it was filled with so much. So we did a double take.
It's formerly known as Chung Fat Zi Mansion, and it was built by a man who arrived from southern China with nothing. He became the most powerful Chinese businessman in British Malay and founded what is now China's largest winery, which was something that was really intriguing to us.
Not only were we looking for some peace and quiet, we were looking for some air conditioning. So we walked upstairs to check out their restaurant. Turns out it had a set menu, way more than what we wanted, but the person at the front door was so polite. He said, well, there's a bar downstairs. Let me take you down there.
This was her first time having Hainanese poached chicken, and it was so juicy it almost didn't seem real. We also split a chocolate dessert and then 2 glasses of that famous Chinese wine. And I want to tell you that this was absolutely so delicious. And it was from the winery he founded in 1892. And here we were sitting in his house drinking wine that traces back to him 125 years after he died.
So we're at the Blue Mansion, and they have a nice little a la carte restaurant that you get to stop in. The other one's only set meals, so this is with our choice. And so we're going to try some of their Cabernet Sauvignon.
It's very fruity, very nice. Just a hint of dryness, but wow, it's nice. It's a decent pour.
I didn't really even realize that China made wine, so this was fascinating to me, and the fact that they were selling it here was a must-do.
It felt like an aperitivo stop in Italy, except it was the 19th century Chinese mansion in Penang.
Now, some people will tell you to skip the Blue Mansion, but we'll tell you to go to both, but end here. Sit down, order the chicken, have a glass of Chinese wine, and let the city slow down around you.
Well, Judy's on the hunt for durian.
Well, we promised our viewers a flight of them. We'll see how many a flight is.
I think it's just 3.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
That almost doesn't seem like enough.
Well, a flight is typically 3 or 4. 5 varieties. Oh, God.
That's kind of what I was hoping for.
Oh, no.
Well,
That's a lot.
So,
But
people have recommended the Musan cake, so I wanted to make sure to try that.
Yeah, Musan is the most flavors durian.
Yeah, that would be great. I just want a little.
Okay, sure.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
A couple of months ago, we asked our YouTube community, should we try a flight of durian? 85% said yes. So this one's for you. And because I'm so kind, I let Judy do it.
Now, durian was everywhere, all throughout
Oh my
Georgetown.
God. Every street, every corner.
Now, if you've never seen durian, the outside is medieval. It kind of looks like it would be a weapon.
Before we start this, I'm having trouble recording this because it's really intense. She has no sense of smell, or very little, so this is not affecting her that way, and maybe the flavors won't either. So
I was told to wear gloves, and Kevin had reminded me it was so that the durian smell can't just get pulled off.
we'd like to leave that here if we can, please.
Let's just jump in.
Okay, I'm just gonna say the texture already is freaking me out.
Not bad. Kind of tastes a little bit on the order of a peach.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. Yeah, and this is just kind of fleshy.
Yeah, see that right there doesn't thrill me. The whole term fleshy when I'm talking about a fruit.
It is like an overripe banana in terms of texture. I think it's worse for you than it is for me.
It's worse for me than it is her. Okay, the between the visuals.
I think that second, the first one was really good.
Okay,
That's quite a flavor.
look at that. It's not appealing.
Here, let's try this one again.
No.
Yeah, this one's much milder. Blackthorn. I would say the blackthorn was really good. I didn't mind this at all. It's kind of fun. One more taste.
I think it's fun because she's watching me go through all these facial expressions.
This was fun, and I really was glad for the challenge.
And I disagree. So glad Judy had it because this is as close as I could get. Thanks for voting.
Remember the ice cream from the beginning of this video? Well, actually gelato. This place is Happy Dots, and their sign mentioned that their vanilla was from Malaysia's first and largest smart vanilla farm. That had us curious, so we reached out and set up a private tour. There's a fee, but it's worth it and includes a delicious farm-to-table lunch.
Thank you.
Not about a monsieur, whether it's very hot or
Yes.
please come in.
Thank
you.
Welcome.
We took a grab to Kairos Vanilla Village, which is about 25 minutes from the Heritage Zone. It's a 6-acre smart farm, chemical-free, growing one of the most expensive and most faked spices. About 99% of what's sold as vanilla flavoring globally is synthetic, derived from wood pulp. Real vanilla requires hand pollination of each individual flower. The flowers only open for 1 day. Miss it and you miss the pod. The only place where bees pollinate for you is in Mexico.
Kairos' innovation is engineering around that bottleneck. Artificial growing structures, standardized height, sensor technology, and a complete sustainability loop. Fish hatchery, worm composting, vanilla fertilization, farm-to-table cafe. Everything is taken care of right in this one place.
The lunch we had was fried fish from their own hatchery, and the vanilla ice cream was made from pods grown right outside the window. And what do you think? With fresh vanilla.
Yeah, it's pretty strong flavor. Really like it. It's great. It's a hot day, so this is very refreshing.
Yes, true.
Cheers.
Would recommend.
Would recommend. Whole thing.
We don't typically buy souvenirs, but their vanilla hand sanitizer is something I would absolutely recommend. In fact, we probably wish we bought a few more.
We took the Penang Hill funicular to the top, a railway that's been climbing through the jungle to the summit since 1923. The views over Georgetown and the Strait were extraordinary. And one of the things we hadn't counted on was seeing monkeys in the trees.
Penang Hill reminded us why we should have made more of an effort to get outside of the heritage zone.
Near the top, there's a Hindu temple built by Indian soldiers in the 1800s, dedicated to the deity they carried up on the hill on sedan chairs. It's been here longer than most of the heritage buildings in Georgetown.
And best of all, it wasn't crowded at the top at all. So since we went later in the evening, we got to enjoy a glorious sunset almost to ourselves. One of the things that could maybe be problematic for you is the fact that all of these little souvenir shops are closed when you're coming at sunset. For us, I think that I would rather see the sunset than be distracted by booths containing stuff I'm not really interested in. So I don't feel like we missed out
We don't
on
buy
a more
souvenirs.
lively experience.
No room for souvenirs. It's fine.
Coming back down, we wandered through the neighborhood at the base of the hill. Most things were closed by then, but the largest Buddhist temple in Malaysia was lit up across the rooftops with tens of thousands of lights for Lunar New Year. We stood on a street corner and watched it for a while. Nobody else was around.
One thing I might have done differently is explored the neighborhoods around Penang Hill earlier in the day or even for a few days so that we could really get a sense of what the local culture felt like. By the time we got there, most of the food stalls were already shut down. There were a few open, but I might not have felt comfortable eating there at the end of the evening as everything was winding down. So let's talk about what it cost us for 16 days in Georgetown. Travel cost us $182 or $91 per person. Accommodations at Gen House were $1,617 or $101 per day. That was a bit higher than I expected, but overall it was completely worth it. Getting around the city cost us $80. Dining and groceries were a total of $763 or $24 per person per day. Activities cost us a total of $125. The total cost was $2,842. Minus the cost of transportation to travel from Singapore, we spent $2,660, which breaks down to $166 per day and $84 per person per day. So did Georgetown live up to the hype that we expected before we came in?
I think it did. I was really surprised by the place. And, starting out the first day to wander out and seeing a jetty with all this history, I don't know, we rarely get to do that in a city, and I think it started us off on the right foot.
I do too. I loved everything about it. I definitely enjoyed all of the different nuances. The food was outstanding.
And you can really eat cheaply if you want to there.
Yeah, I feel like that was one of the best parts because the food was so good. I didn't feel like I was compromising. I actually felt pretty safe eating the food here. We also went to a few higher end restaurants and they were all equally good.
And one of the special parts of being in Georgetown was all the people we got to meet up with. Hanging out, having dinner, just sharing time and sharing stories. That was so wonderful.
I completely agree. I think that there were so many elements that we really enjoyed, including all of the history here. And just the more you saw, there were layers to everything. You could go deeper, you could explore more. And I think being there during Ramadan and Lunar New Year was pretty cool.
And one of the toppers was all the artwork on the buildings and all the wire work. That just made every little turn of a corner a surprise.
I feel like some of that felt a little bit curated, but I also appreciated that all of the wire work was trying to teach us things. And having that scattered all over the city, I really enjoyed.
And we don't always pick the perfect location in the city, but I think we nailed it with Georgetown. Having that longhouse right in the heritage section of the city, excellent. Just a wonderful experience.
And it had really good Wi-Fi. Some of the best Wi-Fi we've ever gotten.
That's true.
And literally we walked out our door and we were in the middle of everything. It was like really best case scenario. Overall, I really think that it was well worth the time we spent there. If this video made you curious about Southeast Asia, but you're a little intimidated about it like we were the first time we went, check out this video next. Thank you so much for joining us here in Malaysia. Our next stop is going to be Budapest, and you're not going to want to miss it. If you haven't already subscribed, we'd love for you to do so.
And remember to
Wander more,
worry less.
and bring a passport.
Until next time.
Until next time.